Welcome back to the True Golf Network. So listen, on February 8th, we had the pleasure of attending the Junior Golf Summit hosted by the Women in Golf Foundation in Stockbridge, Georgia at the Eagles Landing Country Club. This was a great event that brought in young ladies and young girls who wanted to learn the game of golf. They taught everything from learning how to practice, some fundamentals, learning how to warm up, and so many other things. And they had top-level professionals for the girls to speak with, learn from, and kind of look up to as what they could achieve in the game in the future. They had Shasta Avery Hart, which was the 4th African-American young lady to play on the LPGA Tour. They had Alexis Belton, long drive champion. Also, Brittany Bryant Lott was there. She's an LPGA professional there in Georgia. There were so many resources for these young ladies and women to glean from, and it was such a great event. I had the opportunity to sit down with LaJean Gould, who runs the Women in Golf Foundation, and just talk to her about what she sees in the future of golf as it relates to African Americans and young women in the game. Ms. Gould, how are you today? And thank you for doing what you do.
I'm wonderful, and thank you so much for being here. This has been a very special day for us to pilot this Junior Golf Summit. I'm just excited that we've been able to pull this off today.
Now tell me a little bit about the Women's in Golf Foundation, how you guys started and what your mission is.
The Women in Golf Foundation is going to celebrate 30 years this year, 2025. We would be celebrating 31, but we missed a year during COVID, so this is 30 years. And our work actually started with the supporting collegiate women in golf. And we got started in that area because I was trying to learn to play the game to help my professional career, because at that time I was working in the communication industry. And I was looking to move up and trying to understand what that political game was like in the corporate world, and started to peel back the onion and started to understand that the careers were built on the ability to network. And they golfed. That was part of their networking process. So I was looking to become part of that. And in the midst of doing that, I ran into some young girls on the course and asked them what they were doing there, and they said they were playing a tournament. And I said, well, where are the coaches? Because I wanted to meet the coaches, because I'm trying to learn the game at this point. I know very little about golf. And they said, well, the coaches left us here, and they took the boys to another course. And that just left an ugly spot in my heart. I said, well, we have to fix this. We have to help to make women in this sport visible. We have to figure out a way to support them. And 30 years later, we have the National Women's Collegiate Championship that's celebrating 30 years. That's a 54-hole event. And we support HBCU women's golf teams.
Talk to me a little bit about the current state of just golf in general as it relates to the African American experience. We see a lack of participation from our youth. Why do you think that is, and what do you think we can do to help change that?
You know, a lot has been done to expose our community to golf. And I mean, First Tee has done a lot of work with that. A lot of grassroots programs have done a lot of that with junior golf, exposure. They'll have, a couple hundred kids, or they, speak very highly of the numbers of young kids that they've exposed to the game. But when you really look at where we are in golf, our work to develop these kids, get them playing at a high level so that they can be competitive at the amateur status, at the collegiate status, and on into the professional status. We've just not done the work there. We've just scratched the surface. There's been very little in-depth work going on in that space. And there's a lot of conversation going on about it. There's some work going on, but it still does not have the funding and support that it needs to have to take our community to the next level in competitive golf.
Yeah, and I see you have a lot of parents here today at the summit. How important is it for us as parents to understand that, yes, golf is about playing, but there are also a lot of career opportunities for our young people within this game and within this business?
That's the biggest piece of it for me personally. And in our work that we do with the collegians, that's what we stress. We stress the fact that because they play golf, they are big assets to the corporate workplace. And that's the golf industry as well as the corporate industry in general, because golfers portray a specific set of skills that any corporation is going to look for when they hire. And just in terms of the golf industry itself, the golf industry has jobs in every specific category that any other industry does. They need lawyers, they need engineers, they need salespeople, they need medical professionals. So we try to make sure that we bring in role model people to help our young women understand what the possibilities are for their careers in the industry itself.
Yeah, and then talk to us a little bit about the future as the game as you see it. It seems like the pipeline is getting very thin, right? We had a conversation earlier today just about representation within the Augusta, the women's ANWA that's coming up. And are you hopeful about the future? Are you concerned? How do we impress upon our community that the time to act is now?
I have to stay optimistic. You know, optimism for us at times is hard, especially given the climate of where our country is right now, where the world is right now. But I have to believe that because people of color, women of color, have been able to excel in everything they've set out to do, that with the correct emphasis and funding, we'll be able to do that in golf. And I'm not willing to give up on that. I'm going to continue to do things like we're doing here today, to expose the parents to what it takes to raise a champion, to expose the parents to how girls should be treated in their training process, how they have to be communicated with to keep them from giving up on the sport, how they have to be worked with to keep them from getting burnout, to help them understand what it takes to get in college and play at a high level in the collegiate space, and most of all, to help them understand that these young women are very smart young women, and they can be anything they want to be. So we're just trying to give them more options and more opportunity and support, help them support their dreams. So I think there are a lot of girls out there, I can speak from the girls space because that's pretty much where I work, that want to do this. And we're trying to get more people in front of them that are role models so that if they can see it, they can believe it, they can be it. For example, that's why we have Shasta Averhart here for the girls to speak with. That's why we have Alexis Belton here. They can see these girls of color that have excelled in their sport and have them give back to them to help them understand what it is they can do with the sport and how they can even get better at it. So that's been a big piece for us, to be able to get more role models in front of these young girls. And we're starting to have some, but we've got to use them, and we've got to do this work collectively. And one of the things that the Women in Golf Foundation has done with this summit is we have a collaboration with My Vision Golf and Inspiring Greatness, because none of us can do this alone. That it's going to take a collective to come together, to work together, to support these young women. And if we can do it here in Atlanta, we can do it anywhere in the country.
Agreed. And then you mentioned Shasta Averhart and Alexis, and I met with Renee Powell earlier this week, and it was fascinating to me just to sit down and hear about the history. And then I mentioned to Shasta, I'm like, you're number 4, right, out of 8 African-American women who've played on the LPGA Tour.
Yeah.
How important is it for us to reconnect our young people with our vast history in golf?
It's so important. I taught beginning golf at Spelman for 8 years or so when I first retired. And I created at that time a module on African Americans in golf, because I thought it was important for those women, that Spelman community that I was working with at the time, to understand that us being in golf was not new. That we've always been in this space, but our history has not been made available. We've not talked about it enough. We've not taught it enough. We've not helped our kids learn a lot about it. I had to go find out for myself about this history. But our history is very rich. I mean, we've got inventions. We've won high-level events. All those things are there. We have a Renee Powell You know, we have a Laree Suggs, we have a Shasta Averhart, we have a Mariah Stackhouse. We have to make these people visible to our kids to know that it can be real for them.
Agreed. Well, thank you for your time today, Mrs. Gould, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Keep doing. Our young people are valuable, and showing them the avenues in golf, I think, is a very, very worthy cause.
And thank you so much, Mr. Downs, for what you do, because your work is going to help us be able to teach our kids, to get the information out there. I mean, you're putting it on your TV network. I mean, because that's what kids are looking at now. That's where they're going to go. That's where they're going to see. So it'll be better for them to see that than me trying to tell them.
Agreed.
So thank you for what you do as well.
Well, thank you so much. And tell our viewers how they can get in touch with you at the Women in Golf Foundation, and how best to get involved.
Absolutely. You can visit our website at womeningolffoundation.org. It's spelled out, all the words are spelled out just like it sounds, womeningolffoundation.org. We're on Instagram and we're on Facebook, and we have our website. And we're going to host the National Women's Collegiate Championship in Katy, Texas, in this spring, March 30th through April 2nd, at the Cinco Ranch, the golf course at Cinco Ranch in Katy, Texas. And it's exciting for us because we're going to be celebrating 30 years. And you can find more about that on our website as well. We'd love to have you come and play in our scramble event that takes place with the young ladies. We'd also looking for additional sponsors, because out of the money that we raise, we give back to each of the schools so that they can support we can support their women's golf programs. So I think it's an endeavor that you would see is well worth your while to learn more about us. And feel free to give us a call. It's 770-335-2364. I'll be glad to talk with you.
All right, we're talking about needing to get these young folks involved. We're talking about bolstering the game of golf for African Americans. Listen, our dollars speak. So reach out to the Women's Golf Foundation at womensgolffoundation.org and other organizations in your community that are trying to get these young people involved in golf. And let's put our money where our mouths are. Hit the like button, comment, subscribe, follow us, and hit that notification bell so you'll know just when True Golf Network has new content for you.